why did the Scarecrow win an award on Friday? Because he was outstanding in his field all week. Now that's one way to kickstart our Friday, right? A good chuckle to set the mood for the day. Humor is a secret ingredient to brighten up your day, and it's even more crucial on a Friday when the weekend is just around the corner. Like right now, I'm thinking about a funny Friday story about a coworker of mine. One Friday, David sauntered into the office sporting two distinctly different shoes. Yep, you heard it right. One brown, one black. He was in such a rush out the door and thinking about his coming weekend that he didn't notice his mismatched shoes until he was already at work. We all had some friendly laughs at David's expense, and it lightened up the entire office atmosphere for the rest of the day. So remember, friends, even if your shoes don't match, stride into your Friday with confidence. Have you ever noticed how your coffee tastes better on a Friday morning? That's because it's seasoned with the sweet taste of impending freedom. But let's not get carried away just yet. We've got tasks to conquer, and we're going to breeze through them like a boss. Think about your tasks like a mountain of pancakes. The biggest, fluffiest pancake is right at the top. It's a little daunting, isn't it? But here's the thing, you need to eat that pancake first. And by eat, I mean tackle the hardest task on your list. Why? Because once you've devoured that big, fluffy pancake, the rest will seem like a piece of cake. Or, well, a smaller pancake. Now let me share another little story with you. Once upon a time, I thought I could outsmart the pancake mountain. I started from the bottom, thinking I'd work my way up gradually. You know, ease into the day. But as the day wore on, that big, fluffy pancake at the top started to seem more like a monstrous waffle. Before I knew it, it was late afternoon, and I was staring at a task that had grown from a pancake into a full-blown Belgian waffle. Did I manage to tackle it? Well, let's just say that Friday ended with me, a mountain of unfinished work, and a very judgmental cat who seemed to say, I could have handled that waffle. So learn from my mistakes. Eat the biggest pancake first. And remember, it's Friday. So let's add a little fun to it. Imagine that big task of yours as a frog. Yes, a frog, a big, ugly frog that you have to eat. But since it's Friday, let's make that frog wear a party hat. Because why not? It's the end of the week, and even your tasks deserve to celebrate. So go ahead. Eat that frog, or pancake, or whatever metaphor you prefer. Just get the hardest task out of the way first. Trust me, you'll feel lighter, more productive, and ready to take on the rest of the day. As they say, eat the frog first thing in the morning. And if it's Friday, make that frog wear a party hat. A wise person once said, on Fridays, my lunch hour starts at breakfast. Now, I'm not suggesting you adopt this as your mantra, but the sentiment behind it is worth a good laugh. Fridays should, after all, be a day of winding down and recharging. And what better way to do that than with a hearty lunch break? Picture this. It's noon and your stomach is starting its own symphony in anticipation of lunch. But remember, we're turning Friday into a triumphant lead-in to the weekend, so a simple sandwich at your desk won't cut it. You need something that screams weekend. Perhaps a food truck extravaganza or a potluck with your colleagues. But be warned, potlucks can be a minefield of culinary surprises. Let me share another little story. There was this one Friday at an office where they decided to have a themed potluck. The theme? Mystery dish. Everyone was to bring a dish without revealing what it was. Sounds fun, right? Well, the lunch hour rolled around and the potluck was in full swing. There was an array of unlabeled dishes spread out on the table. Everyone was digging in, taking a bit of this and a bit of that. Until one brave soul, let's call him Bob, took a hearty spoonful of what he thought was guacamole, only to discover, much to his horror, it was wasabi. The look on Bob's face was a scene to behold, a mix of surprise, horror, and an urgent need for a gallon of water. The laughter that followed was the kind that makes your stomach hurt and your eyes water. Bob, bless his heart, took it like a champ, and his wasabi misadventure became the highlight of the potluck. So the moral of the story? A Friday lunch break can be a time of great food, laughter, and camaraderie. But maybe double check before you dive into that guacamole. So whether it's sushi or sandwiches, make sure your Friday lunch break is more of a break and less of work. What's the secret to staying productive on a Friday afternoon? Pretend it's Thursday. Now, we all know that as Friday afternoon rolls around, productivity seems to take a nosedive. But fear not, because we have some stellar hacks to keep that productivity meter ticking. First off, let's talk about the art of task division. Instead of looking at your to-do list like an insurmountable Everest, try breaking it down into smaller, manageable molehills. Each completed task will give you a sense of accomplishment, which can feel as satisfying as finding a forgotten $20 bill in your jeans pocket. Now, onto one of my favorite Funny Friday memories. My coworker, let's call him Sleepy Simon. Simon was notorious for his Friday afternoon snoozes. One time, during an important meeting, he started snoring so loud that he woke himself up. He tried to cover it up by immediately asking a question about the presentation, but the slide on the screen was the company's holiday party announcement, so no one bought his act. The Friday lesson here? Take breaks, folks. A short walk, a quick stretch, or a refreshing cup of coffee can do wonders for your concentration. It's like hitting a reset button on your brain. And hey, it also keeps you from turning into a Sleepy Simon. Another hack is to mix up your routine a bit. If you usually save your emails for last, try doing them first. If you typically start with the most challenging task, try starting with the easiest one. Shaking things up can trick your brain into thinking it's a different day and keep it engaged. And finally, don't forget to reward yourself. Maybe it's a piece of dark chocolate after finishing a task, or a 5-minute YouTube video on my channel after an hour of focused work. These little rewards can make your work feel less like work and more like a game. Remember, just because you're working doesn't mean you can't have fun. Fridays are for productivity and occasional daydreams about the weekend. What do Friday evening and a neatly wrapped present have in common? They both signify that good things are about to happen. Now imagine this. You've breezed through your Friday like a boss. You've laughed, you've worked, and you've even managed to have a bit of fun. But then, like the final scene of a cliffhanger movie, Monday looms, threatening to undo all your hard work. The key to avoiding this catastrophe? Wrapping up your Friday with the same panache you started it with. So, how do we do this? It's simple. Take a leaf out of the book of an old friend of mine. Let's call her Monday Morning Mary. One Friday, Mary decided to leave everything for Monday. She waltzed out of the office, leaving a desk that looked like a hurricane had passed through. Come Monday morning, Mary was greeted by a mountain of work that made Mount Everest look like a molehill. The coffee machine broke down, her computer decided to update itself for 3 hours, and to top it all off, she had forgotten about an important meeting scheduled right at 9. The moral of the story? Don't be like Monday Morning Mary. Instead, wrap up your Friday like a boss. Clear your workspace. Make a to-do list for Monday. Respond to those final emails. And most importantly, leave on a high note. Remember, a well-wrapped Friday is the first step to a relaxing weekend and a productive start to the next week. And while we're on the topic of wrapping things up, let's wrap up this video too. But don't worry, we're not leaving you in a lurch like Monday Morning Mary. We've got plenty more to offer. So folks, remember to start and end your Fridays like a boss and step into your weekends like a champion. And if you want more fun and practical tips to breeze through the work week, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, because around here, every day feels like a Friday.